I'm just going to record exactly kind of what I'm doing, talk through how I'm testing this new build with the offsets. So it's great that Bravely Default 2 is working now, just because of that new compatibility issue, and we've got the checkbox for other games. So this is just in its default state, which is actually pretty cool. But obviously, as you can see a lot kind of around the outside, and there is actually quite a neat depth of field view. So just some like normal camera offsets. When I played this before, and turning off depth of field, it seemed pretty good. Yeah, just going out into the open world, you do have that free cam. So I did notice, especially in the battles, and you can see here as I zoom in, the grass and actually that rock kind of disappear. So I did try an experiment with the near clip pane, but that isn't working at the moment. It's similar to some other games where the LOD isn't attached. So just recording, just some gameplay here of its default kind of position of the camera, just for a reference for what we do in a second. What do I do? Here we go. I did find decoupled pitch as well, seems to help, because you kind of there's like an angled view when you go into a battle, similar to One Piece actually. So having that just on is I think a good idea. So yeah, I'm just demonstrating here that when you go into these different areas, you get a different camera angle, and the outside world darkens, which I think, I don't know, it might not be that, but when I go into kind of almost first person, you do start to notice like all the shaders going black at a certain angle. It's super rare though, and actually that's not something I'm really too bothered about. Yeah, so that's the default behavior. Now we're going to go in and attach ourselves. So I use the relative, and that position is just above my character's head, and going in and out of these doors, there's no big zoom or anything like this, so it's a nice fixed distance away, which is good. Just making sure to turn off the depth of field, especially in the first person. It's pretty neat. Obviously the world's been designed to be seen from quite far away, so everything's had like this kind of slightly odd angle because of the perspective of the viewer. But actually, I feel like it's quite neat. Just change the word scale a bit, just looks a bit more fairy book. But yeah, so now if I make a custom offset by using these boxes here, also just find it's easier to use the mouse or a pointer than the actual controller. It's a bit quicker. So you can see here that like when I move around, it's quite an uncomfortable camera move, and when we go in and out of this room, you can see here it kind of I kind of get lost. It's a bit difficult to see myself, so it seems to be affecting the offset. And we use this currently, so you can see here kind of offset, but later on I discovered that if you just actually use the right trigger and camera offset position, that this effect doesn't happen. So I mean, in this current build, I'd recommend to use that for this game to try and achieve a kind of a first person or a third person. Is what I get here, or first person as well. So here, you can see the default doesn't seem to have that. So I do a right trigger, and it seems fun. So that's you see that I just very quickly did the camera offset, and now it behaves as kind of what I would assume would be normal. I just try some other areas to make sure that I'm not going crazy. Yeah, that looks good. No big camera move in. And I go up to the King's Room, which will reset the state, because just before I loaded this gameplay, I've noticed that you pretty much have to delete the entire config to destroy the persistent states. The button doesn't really work. Once you've saved it and attached it, it's difficult to unstick yourself from it without just deleting the whole config. So yeah, I'm just testing the same thing of, if I use the right trigger offset, when I get close to the king here, no camera animations, everything looks fine. Looks how I'd kind of expect it to look. But now if we adjust the offset in any way, so like if I try and recreate this, which is a lot harder of course using the boxes, you can see I can get the offsets almost within seconds with the right trigger and stick, whereas I have to really work hard. And then you can see here as I move around, the camera offset becomes disjointed. So that's where this reset, because if you end up making a really crazy custom one, getting it back to kind of an exact state, especially if you can't detach it quickly. So yeah, that's a kind of like a pitfall you might end up in. So you attach it, make a crazy offset, and then save the state, try and remove it, and you're like, I can't remove it. So you have to delete the config. So with this, I think you'd have to attach it, not adjust it at all, save the state, and then just do the camera adjustment. I'll go back out and do some open world battles now in a second, just to show its effect, because it seems to change the original place where the offset is. So it doesn't seem to be entirely consistent. So like I go into one battle, and it's fine. It's like it's offset for that battle. So I readjust it and then save a camera slot to Y or X for what I'd assume is battles. But when I go back again, it's kind of moved. So you can see here I'm kind of quite I'm quite off to one side, which is fun. Now that normally has a camera animation in, so it's kind of removed that. So here I just move myself in with the right trigger. Again, not doing it with the offset. Just checking the near clip plane as well. So I move it in. Yeah, so that was that brief second of everything going black at some weird angle that I look at. I'm not quite sure what's triggering it. Just make the UI a bit easier for me to handle. So yeah, so now I've found a comfortable position. I imagine I've now saved my slot in the X slot or the Y slot, and I was like, I'll just go back to the other camera slot I saved the open world, so I can just switch between them. Obviously, maybe you want a third slot just to see the character at the end. But if you see now, I'm just kind of preparing. I'm like, I'll just go back to my previous save slot for the open world. But my previous save slot for the open world is now kind of under the floor, and I think the initial kind of attachment offset where that value is moving somewhat, maybe. But yeah, just thought I'd add some context to this clip for testing purposes, obviously. But yeah, we'll have a bit more of a look, because this new permanent additions change some things like projectile attachments, so I'm going to try that next.
能よ。順調順調。いたか我が輩の力。いい感じだ。よし行くぞ。大したことないな。
行くわよ。てやてやや
これは我が手に集え。だからよっと排除させてもらおう。こいつが弱点か。燃えよ。まだまだ行くぞ。弱者だと侮ったか。